So you hear from me here first, the talk of the town, why Norwood Grand? I think from our research, it's always about the lowest quantum, right? The lowest entry price, and that's where Norwood. So I'm not surprised that the take-up rate is actually very, very high. Today is everything is about Emerald of Katong, because whatever that you're going to go through today is not going to be what you expected. Okay, there are some new developments for this project. You guys are the only one, the first one to know it here. Okay, because this is just fresh out of the oven. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do so that whenever we have any new projects, we can actually review it and to share with you to learn more. Today, I'm going to cover at least 3 aspects, okay? The first aspect, I'm going to share with you in this video, how are you going to select Emerald of Katong units as a homeowner as well as an investor. So because both ends are very different and you really want to stay tuned to the video, because I'm going to kind of share with you what are the key things to take note of as a homeowner selecting Emerald of Katong as well as an investor. And the second thing I'm going to share with you, I'm going to give you the keynotes, okay, about each unit selection. What are the different things that we should take note of, and especially because we do not know the price, so it's very important for us to prepare ahead in terms of the research. Number 3, I'm going to share with you one of the biggest mistake a lot of homeowners make during the ballot process. For the very first thing that I want to kind of give you guys to relook at what you are planning to get and kind of for some of your finances or your process, I believe this is extremely good for you. Take a step back, don't move until you see it, so you can kind of slow it down a little bit, go through a little bit more research, and then see how you can kind of take this from a different perspective if you have not done anything. What are the projects surrounding Emerald of Katong? So of course, first of all, we have the head court, which is a slightly older property, 2004 TOP, and the number of units is 360, and this is the only freehold plot here. And so in comparison to the others where they are leasehold properties, there will be some comparison. And I've actually done a comparison regarding the density size. All right, so why am I doing this density? Because for density in different locations is extremely important, because that's how the lifestyle of your purchaser or your next buyer is going to be. So for head court, because it's an older development, you can see that the density is at 585 square feet per unit. So that is based on head court. But if we start looking at the younger properties like Tembusu Grand, we're talking about 638 units with a leasehold property, and the density this time around, you can see a huge difference, 330 square feet per unit. Right? So in comparisons to Tembusu and head court, of course, there's a vast difference. So why is this important to us as a purchaser? Because we do need to know how the profile of our future buyers are going to be in that location. So every location differs, right? Some people, they prefer a little bit more landscaping. Some people, they don't mind to be in a concrete jungle. So that's why we need to draw a fine line that today, even though the properties may be sold very, very well, we still need to look at the lens of what as a resale buyer. And that's how we're going to help you determine whether Emerald of Katong is it a worthy purchase or not. And of course, come to Emerald of Katong, it will be TOP by 2029, and the density is even smaller if you compare 261 square feet per unit. This is something that I think we have to be a little bit more careful about in terms of density. In comparison, if you can see all the 3 different projects, right? Emerald of Katong is the most dense, okay, in comparison. So you can't really go wrong with a location like this. Based on the future developments, I think one of the key things we are always emphasizing for our homeowners is don't just look at how you're going to purchase a property. You need to also understand how you're going to exit in time to come. It may not be anytime soon, but if you're looking to a midterm with 5 to 6 years or even 7 years, you need to be very careful about understanding how future developments is going to affect you. So this is master plan of Tembusu area and Tanjung Katong. So there are some indications here that you want to make sure that you understand also. E, zone as education. That's why the color is a bit light yellow. So they are basically Tanjung Katong Secondary School and Tanjung Katong Girls School. So Emerald of Katong is definitely 1 km to these 2 schools. They are just slightly off from the popular school as well. So that is something that we need to be a little bit more worried about. Today, if you can look at, this is the first plot there. This is A. This is going to become a residential site. There's supposed to be a car park here right now, open car park. But in time to come, this entire area has been zoned for residential. So then, of course, for the B plot, you have C plot, we have head court. So today, if you are still able to get a freehold brand new property, it's rather very rare. Because the only way the developers are able to get freehold land right now is to go through an en bloc process. And we all know for the past couple of years, en bloc process has been very challenging, especially for developers with cost rising. So at the moment, within this vicinity in Katong, I think the only one that is freehold brand new is the Continuum. From here, how much is the average prices in terms of the current properties? So we're talking about Head Hall, we're talking about Tembusu Grand. Let's just look at the 3-bedroom as a starting point. So you can see that from a 3-bedroom, of course, the Head Court ranges from 1,399 all the way to 1,453. So this is what we are going to be expecting if you are going for Head Court first. Okay, so Tembusu Grand, right, in terms of the performance, of course, 3 bedrooms, their sizes are about 990 to 1,173. Prices already ranging from 2.288 million all the way to 2.976. You need to know some of this price point before you enter into it. So one of the key mistakes that I see a lot of homeowners make is that they did not do enough preparation before the balloting process, and that's very risky. Why? Because you may just accept a price that it may be a little bit too over because you're so anxious, right? Oh, I just need to make a decision fast. So that's the reason why whenever we accompany our clients to make a decision in terms of new launches, right? So this is Tembusu Grand information. In that, of course, you will have Emerald of Katong, okay, at this side. All right, 3.5 range. Today, there's already another site here that is zoned for residential as well. Today, if you are choosing Emerald of Katong and you're kind of looking into this kind of facing, just to take note, there's a residential site that's zoned for 3.5 plot ratio. Right now, you can see that there's this green colored. Okay, so this is a park, a neighborhood park there. So why do we as a homeowner need to know this? And what has it to do anything with our balloting process and the pricing? Because everybody is shouting that, hey, the property, the land cost that Cindior purchased is 18%. Okay, lower. And 20% cheaper than Grand Dunman. The launch price for Emerald of Katong will be cheaper, and that's what everybody is trying to shout out. So Emerald of Katong is the first harmonization in Katong area. And one thing I want to point out, which is during my research, right, I found this very important information. And if you can see here, there's this H. It could give you the impression that whatever is going to be there is also going to be low rise. Okay, so this is the nursing home in Tanjong Katong. So the first thing that I noticed is that, hey, this one is not low rise. Like. Do you see the photo? This is not low rise. Okay, so it could be an artist impression. It could be just a model. We don't know, right? So I went deeper into my research. This is one way that you can find out. All right, so I'm going to go into URA space. So you can actually type in the address. So for the nursing home is Jalan 31 Jalan Tembusu. So when I click this, right, I will be able to actually pull out what is happening to this site. So you will see that, oh, the area where is it? It will already zone out. See, you can see Emerald of Katong, and beside it is the nursing home. But here, when I click into other services, right, I show you. So this is where it gets interesting. Can you see planning decisions? It states that it's a 1 block of 9-story nursing home development, 294 beds. Today, what you see as a low-rise nursing home or the structure is not going to be there because it's going to turn into a 9-story. Okay, so I was just going to share with you some units. So this is 1011. This all the orange color, right, are the units that are sold during the launch. Okay, let us study this a little bit. All right, so now let's look at layout. Okay, layout, I think Emerald of Katong layout, I think nothing to cry about. So one of the key things we must always understand is there is a certain reason why developers, they build a certain size, they do the layout a certain way so that they can fill in a certain gap in this entire location, especially with Tembusu Grand being just beside. Emerald of Katong, the show flat unit is the 990 layout. For Emerald of Katong, we are under the harmonization. So we still have the aircon latch, which is estimated about 54 square feet. So we need to kind of factor that in, which means that if we factor pre-harmonization, right, the 990 square feet technically is 1044 square feet unit. Now we have Tembusu Grand pre-harmonization at 990 square feet and Emerald of Katong 990 square feet at harmonization. Of course, the non-strata of 54 square feet has to be taken into consideration. So this is something. So what do you see as a huge difference? Actually, generally, all 3 bedrooms, you can't go too far away. Besides the fact that today for Emerald of Katong, you're able to still fit in a yard as well as the WC. So this is a huge advantage. Today, will you want to pay this extra amount of money to buy this such a big space? Today, we need to make our money work harder. So we need to make sure that whatever we spend on per square foot is actually valuable. It's important. It's not anyhow spend. So now it comes to the most important part, okay, pricing. Okay, this price matrix is extremely important. And why we do this is so that we can one glance have a sense about what is happening in each development, each size from a pricing perspective for PSF. Right. So I'm just using 2,500 as a guideline first. All right, so just use 2,500 as a benchmark price. Why do I say so? Because this gives you a very good overview in between, and from there, if the prices keep going up, then we will have other guidelines. So one thing you must understand, okay, let's just use a 3-bedroom now. Huh? So let me just point out 883, okay, 904, 969, 990, and 1023. Okay, we just want to use this 5 example. So if you can see from a 2,005 per square foot, right, you can see what's the pricing jump. Okay, this is one aspect that we do during our price comparison before the balloting, is because we want to see what is the difference between the price jump. And this is extremely important because if the price jump is very little, like for example, if you can see this price jump, they are only about maybe 52,000. The price jump from 904 to 969, from 2.2 million to 2.4 million, is almost 160,000 jump. And today, if you are already intending to buy this property and you have not done all this homework, please give yourself a chance, right? A second chance to seek a second opinion, to see, are you missing out certain things that you may not have understand or may not have covered before. All right, because this is very crucial, important. So if you look at the next one, the next jump for the price point for 696 to 990, you can see that the jump is also about 50 over percent, or 50 over $1,000. So in this case, should you go for 990 instead? Because it's only about $50,000. So in this kind of situation, I would definitely want to go for the bigger unit. And last but not least, if you look at the next jump with 990 to 1023, the jump is about 82,000, but you get 30 square foot more. Is it worth that 80 over 1,000? If you ask me, I would definitely go for 904 because the price difference is very small, and I will go for the 990. You see, so do you all start seeing like how we actually start comparing properties until so detailed? One of the biggest trap, right? All right, in property is that you did not do enough preparation. So I'm going to share with you 5 key things, okay? So what's the first point? Your affordability and limitation. For all my clients, right, I share 4 safes, okay? SAFES in our financial limitations, okay? We will calculate and make sure that there are 4 safes inside your financial calculation. So the second thing is unit selection versus affordability. Again, we don't know the pricing, different facing. So at the end of the day, when you buy, you come out happy also. You happy, we also happy. So everybody happy together. Then we will see you in the next 3 years so that we can see what we can do later, right? So this one very crucial, and a lot of homeowners, they do their unit selection. Okay, we will break it down into stacks, we'll bring in our floors, we'll bring in facing against your own affordability. So point number 3 is per floor facing strategy. Okay, so why is this crucial? If today you choose the wrong floor or the wrong facing or the wrong price, it will potentially break or make your exit strategy. It's either you make a lot or you make lesser. So we want to be very careful with the height floor high or low versus price. Okay, there's always a comparison to price. So that's why we want to get you through across your preferences, your pricing. Then we see potentially per floor jump, does it make sense for us to go higher floor or even lower floor, depending on the facing. Or fourth thing, this is where your best case alternatives. Touch wood, of course, those who are going for it, I also wish that you ballot and then you get your choice units. If they are within a good numbers, maybe you have a fighting chance to choose the one that you want. But last but not least, okay, if you have followed through this entire video, right, this is one thing that you don't want to miss, which is what's your walk away price. Why do I call it as walk away price? Because you must dare to walk away from this project if the price point is not right. If it's over your budget or it's something that you are uncomfortable with and you're kind of being forced to accept. Okay, there's nothing called force in property, to be honest. It's willing party ma. But sometimes you're just uncomfortable, and because you need to make such a quick decision in such a short time, you anyhow choose. Okay, this one not buying Thai, not buying veggie. So this is why it's important. So this part is very important. What's the walk away price for Emerald of Katong? All right, so this one, of course, there's a lot of discussion about this. And we have done a lot of research about this. So we only want to come in and using what? Data. Okay, data. Because how many of you, after you put in, do so much work, you dare to walk out from the ballot day? Right? Okay, it's not easy, I tell you. To look at walk away price, we have to always look at numbers. Look at transactions. For Headcourt here, okay, 3 bedrooms, they're ranging from 1,000, okay, maybe, 1,339 square feet all the way to 1,450 plus per square foot. Because it's an older development, that's why their sizes are definitely much, much bigger. And they are already ranging from 2.7 million to 3 million. On an average square feet, close to $2,000 per square foot. So today, right, if you want to buy a 3-bedroom in Headcourt, in nothing less than 2.8, you cannot buy. Nothing to buy. So 2.8 becomes a benchmark in terms of pricing. Yes, give and take is older, but people are still willing to pay for it. This is the latest transaction. So if you look at the average, you can see 1,974 per square foot. So averagely 2,500 plus per square foot. Okay, but if we go into detail, so on average, the 990 ranging from 2.288 million to 2.552 million, ranging about 2004 plus to 2005 per square foot. Bigger units are already at least 2.8 million. Why are they doing this? Because Emerald of Katong kind of fit in between, as I mentioned, in terms of the pricing. Because they are bigger, Tembusu Grand are already 2.8 million. Emerald of Katong is what? Younger and newer. So usually younger and newer should be what? Higher in terms of pricing, right? But this time around, it's a little bit different. So that's why we need to be very careful in terms of understanding how some of all these things work. Anything below for Emerald of Katong, anything below 2.6 million and 990 square feet, I believe it will sell very fast. Okay, because it's the right pricing and it feels a very in-between gap, okay, in terms of both PSF as well as pricing. So Emerald of Katong, I call it like the sandwich, sandwich type configuration, very in between. Walk away price, right, for Emerald of Katong, anything below 2.7, 990, I think is a very safe option. And PSF wise, try to keep it within the 2006 XX kind of per square foot. You'll be quite safe. All right, so I'm just giving you a very general price guide. Okay, it doesn't mean that you anything crossing this you don't want to buy. That's why we are here to help you access what's the range. Okay, what's the range that is it fits into your own affordability that is safer for you. And if this is not the one, are there something else that we can explore into which makes more sense? So then you no need to worry about whether you can only buy this or not. Most people, why they rush into buying, because they only think they have this choice. But you'll be surprised that there are also other good developments out there with very good pricing that is hidden gem. Because there's a lot of movement, a lot of hype about some of all these current properties that you may be missing out some of the hidden gems out there. Also, reach out to us so that we can kind of do a comparison and be very impartial about this to see how we can help you in terms of the selection. All right, that's why we do the price comparison, we do the facing selection, we do the price matrix. All these are crucial. All right, so I hope that today with this in detail analysis, it can help you, and really looking forward to actually begin a lot of other new launches development. So do write in the comment what are the developments that you find that you may need help in. All right, maybe we can do a more in-depth analytics and analysis for you for the other upcoming new launches. For the many of you who really need to get a second opinion from us, reach out, and if you have any questions, you can always scan the QR code and talk to us. So it does give us a little bit of window of time that we can help you to assess your situation better and to determine is Emerald of Katong an ideal move for you, or could we have better safer options in the selection of Emerald of Katong itself. Okay, with that, thank you so much. I really enjoy sharing my analytics, and I want to make sure that you guys are safe. So with that,